Hello, and welcome to episode 49 of our Let's Play series in Space Engineer Survival. Today I think we are going to go ahead and do some scripting. The initial focus is going to be on displaying our inventory as a build-up to an inventory management system for the Space Industrial Complex that will be able to move ores out of any ships that dock. Move ingots in and out of any ships that dock, and move components in and out of any ships that dock. Eventually we're going to do all the collecting stuff on a command, because we don't necessarily want to automatically pull everything that's available out of the attached ships. Like the welder, for example, we're going to want the components that we put on the welder to stay on the welder, at least until we say we want to bring them back. But we're going to stay sitting here in the couch to do this so that we don't have to worry about energy, even though our energy will go very slow in this environment because we're in a pressurized and temperature controlled location. There's the control, that's what I'm looking for. It is currently off, we'll turn it on. And then we will edit the script. And I'm going to go through here and fix the formatting because otherwise it will bother me. And I copy paste it out to GitHub. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our update frequency. Every 100 ticks will be sufficient. Just confirm I did that right. And then here, on the 100 tick updates, and then clear the flag. And then if there are no flags left, or if we've cleared these flags and still have a flag left, then that means we're running a command. This is going to be our method for displaying our inventory. We're going to have a parameter here to determine whether or not we're displaying connected inventories or just the one for the space industrial complex itself. Up in here, we are going to have a list of my text surfaces. For cargo displays. And to start with, we are going to add the programmable blocks main display. Do our standard display method here. Did I do this properly? Close parentheses and stuff. What is that code? Content type, I think. I think that's what it is. Yep, that's what it is. So just to test this, you're going to append by default. We want to clear it here. Now if we do that, the large display text should say test, which it does. Alright. So next, let me take this back out because we don't actually want to display test. Instead, we want to display inventory. And the default parameter there of not showing connected inventories being false is fine. So now we're in here. And for the sake of neatness, I think I'm actually going to move this up here, because once we've checked it, we don't need it anymore. So we'll do the housekeeping immediately, and then we'll do the actual work that we need to do. So what we are going to do here is we're going to recreate our connected method that we typically use. How do I usually do that? That, I think. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is find all of our inventories, I think. No, before I do that, I'm going to create a dictionary for all of our inventory items. So we want a dictionary because we're going to potentially be finding stacks of the same item in different containers. So every time we find a certain item type, we want to add to a single list. So if we create a dictionary, which is a C# thing, it's similar to a JavaScript map for anybody who is more familiar with that. We're going to index it by my item type, and it's going to contain my fixed point. I think is what we want. Yeah. Okay. So it'll be indexed by the item type, and the value, the key will be the item type, and the value will be the amount. So then what we'll do is we will create a useless list, because we're going to do all the work in the filter function again. And then we will go through them. If the block is not connected and our parameter to care about that is false. So if not is connected and not connected, meaning if the block isn't connected to the main, to the space industrial complex, and we don't want blocks that aren't connected to the space industrial complex, then we will return false. block dot as inventory is false. Return false. Now, for int I equals 0, I is less than block dot inventory count index I. My inventory equals block dot get inventory I. Lists inventory item. I think it's I my inventory item, not just my inventory item. That might be wrong though. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going through each inventory that we come across, because some of these have multiple inventories, the refineries and the assemblers in particular. And we're getting all of the items and putting it into this list, and then we're going through that item list and just echoing out the type for now. We cannot convert I my inventory item to my inventory items. Okay, so I need to get rid of that I. This is just my inventory item. Okay, and type is fine as long as we have the correct value there. And then at the end of that, we'll go ahead and return true. Now this should be outputting all of the items that are actually on the grid, and there will be multiples. This is probably our O2H2 generators here in particular. This is our large cargo container 1. This is large cargo container 2. These two, I'm not 100% sure. This is probably the reactor, and this is something, and this is the other reactor, would be my guess. What's our ammo? But yeah, so this is everything. You know, and there's doubles in here and stuff because it's words. It's not necessarily, or it's not aggregating the different things. That's what the dictionary is for, and that's what we're going to do next. So instead of echoing these, what we're actually going to do is we are going to say if cargo keys. Is that a thing? Contains item dot type. And then cargo item dot type plus equals item dot amount. I think that's what we want to do. No. Keys cannot be used like a method. Okay, so that's not a method, it's just a property. Okay, so if the keys that we have in the dictionary already contains the item type, then add it. Else cargo item type equals item dot amount. So if it's there already, add what we found. If it's not there already, set it to what we found. So now if we come out of this lambda function here, the filter function, then cargo, the dictionary, should be entirely populated. And if we do for each key value pair, I think is the data type. Yeah. So now what this should do is it should go through the whole dictionary and echo the key and then the value. So we have 101 and change platinum ingots, 40 and change magnesium ingots, 6,000 and change cobalt, 43,000 nickel, 442,000 iron, 74 metal grids, 45,000 uranium ore, 372 uranium ingots, 281,000 gravel, stone ingots or gravel, 72,000 silicon ingots, 4,000 silver, 300 gold, and 1.4 million ice. 100 assault rifle mags, 100 Gatling containers, 10 interior plates, 46 small tubes, 32 solar cells. So that is correct. That is doing what it's supposed to be doing so far. Now, before we actually display this, though, we're going to want to do some formatting on it. And you can see the uranium ore is going down because that's still being refined, and the uranium ingots are going up. This is honestly the easy part. If that's discouraging to anybody, then I'm sorry. I will try to make this as simple as possible, but the easy part is counting it. The more difficult part is moving it. And we will do that in a future episode because I don't want to make these super long. So we're just going to focus on displaying it for the time being, and I will make sure I have a solid plan, and we will move it in a future episode. Anyway, instead of echoing this just straight up like that, what we're actually going to want to do is, first of all, we're going to call display instead of echo, because we want it to go out to the text surface. But first we need to do some formatting on this. Alright. And I'm going to do the formatting in separate methods. Turn type to string split on the underscore. We're going to get rid of that my object builder thing, and then we're going to pass back the second half of it. So it's the ingot slash whatever, component slash whatever, ammo slash whatever, instead of the my object builder underscore all that. Let's start with that. There we go. That's neater already, because it means everything fits on one line now. So that's definitely a start. The next thing that I want to do is some formatting of the actual values. And I think we'll also want to sort these. I'm pretty sure the dictionary has a way to do that already, but we'll see. We might need to pass a sort function in. Probably will. But, you know, group all the components together, all the ammo together, ores, ingots, group all those together. First, though, formatting the amount. Alright, so if the amount is already an integer, we don't really want to do anything. So if amount equals, alright, I'm going to try JavaScript here, and this is probably not going to work. Math.floor amount, return amount string. Cannot convert from my fixed point to decimal. What if I just cast that to float? Can you do that? Cannot be applied to my fixed point in double. Okay, if float amount equals math for float amount. Alright, cool. So that'll work. It's just complaining now that not all paths return a value. We're going to do an interpolated string. And I think these are all in kilograms. Like the ores and ingots are in kilograms. I will double check that before we say we're done. No overload for to string takes one argument. Well, I know this one does. But I just want to cast amount. I don't want to cast the toString thing, because otherwise we'd be in the same predicament. Okay. So if we cast this to a float first, we can do toString with the formatting. My fixed point apparently doesn't have that option. But now we actually need to call it. You know, 1.82 kilograms. Yeah, that's much better. And the components that are not calculated that way are still just plain numbers with no kilograms or anything like that. Now let's make sure that our units are actually correct here. Kilograms, kilograms, kilograms. Let's find the SIC large cargo container. 281,565.91 kilograms. So that should say the same thing. That should say 281,565.91 for the stone ingots. It's rounding it a little bit differently, it looks like, but 281,565.90. 0.91 is close enough. Counting it. Alright, so it is kilograms, that is right. So we've got the correct information here now. Now the problem becomes, first of all, that our display is too small to show all of this. And second of all, that it's not sorted. So we'll handle the sorting first, because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to handle the size thing. So before we echo it, we need to sort it. Is that a thing? Does not contain a definition for sort. Okay. Now I need to learn C#. Huh. Okay, so the way that you apparently are supposed to do it is you pull out the keys, and then you sort that, and then you access the dictionary by the key. I don't know if I like that much. there another way to do that? Oh wow, dictionaries are crazy. Okay, so this is the way I like the best. There's an order by function, and you can pass a lambda into that, and it returns a dictionary. I think. All right, we'll try that. Okay, so instead of doing that, just in here, we can do dot order by I format item type I dot key. Didn't close a parenthesis somewhere. Alright, how's that working? Ammo, components, ingots, ores. Perfect. Alright, so that's what we wanted it to do, exactly. Ores. One thing we could do is we could make it a command that when you send a command, it's either showing you ammo, components, ingots, or ores. That'd be one way to do it. I don't know if I particularly like that way. For the time being, we will just do this. It's cargo displays. First of all, well, one thing we can do is we can put the new line character in. But up here, we need to clear the screen. Alright, so that will send an empty string with false, so it'll clear everything, and then these will all be appended with the new line character at the end. And these will no longer be echoed. Instead, they will be here. Now, those will update if we're actually looking at the screen. But yeah, see, that's too big. You can only see about half of it, maybe. What happens if we drop the font size in half? No, we actually can see everything. Alright. I mean, it's a little small, but I think I can live with that. We can even make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's fitting everything. Because we've only got 2 ore types there, and that's all we have. We are going to have to change this, because I mean, this is not really adequate, but this is a decent test output for the time being. But that was, like, if we add more components in here, for example, then it's not going to fit anymore. If we have more ores in here, it's not going to fit anymore. If we have more ammo types in here, it's not going to fit anymore. Basically, anything that we add in here is not going to fit anymore. Um, so we're going to have to do something a little bit more fancy with this in the long term. Um, but this is not going to stay here in the long term either. What we're going to do is we're going to have a whole bunch of really cool displays here that's kind of showing, you know, what cargo we have, what the refinery priority order is, and stuff like that. What cargo is available, you know, off the SIC grid. Um, you know, controls to pull everything in, controls to push everything out, controls to disassemble all the leftover components, um, that sort of thing. So like the idea is that we'll push a button, we'll be able to disassemble all of the components that we have in storage, which are going to be stored over here. Then we'll be able to, you know, access the assembler. Say we want to, you know, build certain component or certain blocks. We'll, you know, queue up all the components for those blocks. They'll all get shoved into here. We'll be able to push a button. They'll get pushed out into the welder. We'll be able to fly the welder out and do our business, fly it back. Anything that's left over, we'll then be able to pull back out and have disassembled. So yeah, all that stuff's going to be kind of automated is the idea. Um, and like I said, there's going to be like a priority order for the refineries. So like one refinery will have uranium as a higher priority. So like if there is uranium, we'll always be processing it at least in one spot. But like other stuff like, you know, iron and whatever else is going to be prioritized over here. And that may actually end up being a dynamic list, basically saying, you know, we want to have like targets of so much of each kind of ore. You know, having a lot of iron obviously being a priority because you use iron for absolutely everything. Magnesium being a relatively low priority because you only need that for ammunition. Um, but basically, you know, if we're at a lower percentage towards our target of iron than anything else, then iron will be the top priority. If we're at a lower percentage of, you know, silver or whatever, and we have silver ore, that'll take priority. At least that's kind of the idea I have in mind. We'll see how that actually develops as we, you know, get around to doing it. But for the time being, this was the main goal for this particular episode, was to get the inventory display working. In the next episode, we will work on sorting, so that, for example, I'm just going to look at the current grid. We've got some of these metal grids in here. That's why those were showing twice before when we were doing the initial list at the beginning of the episode. Um, it will automatically move the metal grids, or all the components, I should say, into the second small cargo container. All components will go in here. All ammo will go in here. Um, and if the assemblers aren't doing anything, like if they have anything queued up to build, then they won't do this. But if they don't have anything queued up to build, they will pull all of the leftover ingots from previous build queues and put it back into the large cargo container here. Put whatever ice it can into here. Whatever ice it can't will go in here, along with any ores that we have littered around wherever. It'll try to keep our uranium topped up in the reactors as much as possible, pull the uranium out of the refineries, put ores into the refineries, because you can see here, like, we turned the conveyors off, and I did that on purpose because I didn't want it to do this automatically. I wanted to be able to have more manual control over it. So we have to actually do this, you know, by dragging it in for now, but the scripting block can take over that function for us and do it in a more intelligent way than the conveyors would, and in a more automatic way than we could. So that's going to be, you know, in the long-term plans for this particular script. And like I said, it'll do all of the ores when it moves them into the refinery. It'll do them in priority order. So, you know, we'll get what we need and not stuff that we don't. As urgently. It'll do stone first because it can just chew through that and it'll be done quick, and then it's out of the way because it takes up the ore, the stone ore. The stone takes up a lot of room whereas the ingots that it refines down into very quickly does not take up a lot of room. So that'll almost always, I think, be top priority, is to get rid of the stone. Now we're not going to have a whole lot of stone in here because typically we're going to be pulling stone up in the mega miner, and it's got a basic refinery on board specifically for that purpose. But if we do bring it back here because we want to do the extra yield or whatever, that'll be top priority to get that done. But then it'll move the ingots out of the refinery and put them in the correct location in this large cargo container. Also, I'm thinking that we can check the oxygen tank and make sure that if it falls below, like, 75% or whatever, that it will automatically turn on these O2H2 generators and replenish the oxygen. It can look for attached hydrogen tanks. Um, we wouldn't want it to do it to this one, so we'd want some kind of flag that we can set, I guess, to say, if this hydrogen tank isn't full, then go ahead and turn on the O2H2 generators to make sure it gets full. But don't necessarily do it with this one, because this one, remember, the idea is that it's a reserve. So like if we're digging up ice somewhere, we can turn the O2H2 generator on the mega miner on and put the ice into here and free up cargo space. But yeah, all that stuff is possible to script and is kind of the long-term goal for the inventory management here on the SIC. And we might do some of this inventory management also on the mega miner itself, seeing as it does have the basic refinery and some of those other uh, things that we are going to want to be able to manage inventory on without needing to do it all manually or relying on the conveyor to do it in the haphazard and not particularly clever way that it does. Anyway, subscribe to see all that happen. Um, Next episode, maybe I'll get around to finishing the fighter, maybe I won't. We'll see. We might do more of this. We might do some more stuff on the uranium station. I don't really know yet. I haven't decided. Depends on what I feel like doing when I get around to recording it. So subscribe to see what happens next. Likes, comments, and verbal abuse are welcome. Thanks for watching. See you next time.